So, one of the most common complaints I hear from people who are new to human design is, why do I have to wait? I feel like I've been waiting my whole life, and that hasn't done me any good. And so, I wanted to give you an example. Wow, that's kind of loud. I wanted to give you an example of waiting for me. I'm a projector, which means my strategy is to wait for the invitation. And one of my favorite examples of waiting for the invitation, it scored me a 7-week trip to Europe. Basically, all expenses paid, not quite, but pretty good. So I'm just, living my best life, going about my day, um, running my business. And I'm a coach, by the way. And one of my clients, when we finished her coaching, she decided that she would move. This was part of the coaching process, that she would move from the United States overseas. And when we finalized coaching and she knew that that was going to work out, she said, "Hey, by the way, I got a really great deal on a place that has 2 bedrooms. So if you'd like to come and visit me overseas, you can stay with me because I have 2 bedrooms." And so in human design, when an opportunity comes to you, the next step is to run it through your authority, because this will be the most aligned way of making decisions. And my authority is splenic, so meaning my spleen center is defined, and this is where I check when I make a decision. And the question that I ask myself with a defined spleen is this good, safe, and healthy for me? And it's not even really cognitive, right? It kind of happens automatically. But if I feel like I'm slipping into my not self mind, I can ask that question. And so immediately my felt sense when she invited me was, it doesn't really feel healthy for me, particularly when it comes to jet lag, to leave the United States, go to another country for a few days, and then come right back. And of course, there's an expense for the plane tickets. So I said, okay, thank you to her. And I said, I'll consider it. And just kind of left it at that, right? So the invitation came in and it sounded good intellectually, but my body was like, I can't go with you. And so a week or so later, I'm talking to my project manager who is French. She's amazing. I love her. And she is French. She's from France, but she had been living in the United States as well. And she said, "Hey, I'm going to go back to France and visit my parents. It would be so cool if you could come to France." And I said, "I agree with you. I've always wanted to go to France." But again, right, that's the invitation. Come to France. And my body said, I still don't know. I still don't think that that is going to work for the physical body. And so I said, yeah, that sounds great, but I'm not sure. And so I left it at that, and just kind of like went with the assumption that I wouldn't go unless another invitation came in. And so my first client had invited me for the month of October, and my project manager had invited me for the month of October. And I thought, that's quite serendipitous, that I could be in Europe for slightly extended amount of time, around the same time. And I have 2 people who are willing to host me. But I didn't overthink it. I just left it. And then I'm checking my email. I will say a week or 2 later, after the second invitation. I'm checking my email because I know that I missed a training class that I was supposed to do. So I'm checking my email to find the replay. And so I'm searching. And I finally come across an email that says, "Hey, we canceled our training class and have rescheduled it for October in London. And you can join virtually or you can join in person." And when I saw that invitation to go to the training class in person in London, Suddenly my body was on board with all of the invitations. So the first, second, and third invitations combined gave me an instant splenic not no, basically. So a splenic yes. And it all kind of came together very quickly and very easily. And so I said, cool, I'm going to go to Europe for 3 weeks.
Mom.
And so I said, cool, I'm going to go to Europe for 3 weeks. This is great. I'm really excited. It makes total sense logically, but also my body feels like this is good, safe and healthy for me. And it's a business expense. How amazing. I'm seeing my client, I'm seeing my contractor, and I'm taking a class. This is great. Here we go. And so around this time also, I'm living in an apartment complex on the top floor, and the view is amazing and I love it. But my neighbor doesn't like that I have kids. I have 2 young boys, and it's very disruptive to my neighbor. So I go down to the leasing office and I say, hey, I need this or something better. I love my apartment. I love the layout. I like this complex. Everything is good except my neighbor can't handle having people living above him. And I can't have someone below me, you know, calling the security officer every couple of days because we're walking. And so they said, okay, we'll check it out. And they found me my exact same floor plan, but it wasn't available for 2 months. And part of that time between my current lease ending and the new lease beginning, I would be in Europe. So I gave it some thought and I said, maybe I just put my stuff in storage and then I can, you know, avoid rent for at least a month and figure out where I'm going to stay when I come back. So as I mentioned, I have kids. I'm not with their dad. So we have joint custody. And so I let their dad know, hey, I'm going to go to Europe for 3 weeks and I'm also going to be moving. And he said, okay, cool. Can we come with you? So here's invitation number 5, basically. And I said, no, that doesn't feel good for me for you to come along on my business trip. But since I can't move into my apartment for 2 months, I'm happy to extend my trip. Would you like to join at the tail end of my 3 weeks? And I'll just stay in Europe for longer. And he said yes. And so my one invitation for a few days escalated into multiple invitations that gave me this 7-week tour of Europe. And it really happened, and it was absolutely amazing and has completely changed my trajectory. So what month are we in? March. Months and months and months and months later, I decided not to get the apartment because I liked traveling. I kept all of my stuff in storage and accepted invitations to stay with friends and put my things in another storage building that fit better and was more cost effective. And now I am in Mexico awaiting my next invitation. So the point of this very long story is that it works, and it works in very unexpected ways. And don't force your authority with logic.